What's going on, people? How you doing? TK coming at you. Just want to talk to you guys about the direction that we're going in right now. I was doing some homework about the subprime mortgage crisis that and where the greed within the banking community basically egged on the financialization and the rehypothecation of toxic derivatives that eventually stretched to the point where it imploded in 2008. So I really like to look back to figure out where we've been so that we can have a better picture as to where we're going. And looking at all of the components that led up to 2008, the atmosphere that was prevalent within 2007, nothing has really changed within our financialization, within our toxic products, within our ability to create money out of thin air. We're still doing the same thing with the derivative market, except it's gotten bigger. So the one thing that people don't do is prepare and see the rightness on the wall. So how do you bring this down to everyday people? I mean, because if you think about the housing bubble of 2008, it really didn't affect the poor person. It didn't affect anyone unless you were in the home ownership category of having a mortgage that you couldn't afford, or you knew you were over leveraged in, or an investment, say upper middle class, where you participated in these toxic derivatives, or you participated directly or indirectly in one of these Lehman Brothers type banking institutions. So a lot of people went through 2008 in the same manner that they've always existed in, not really having a lot of access to paper, being victimized by engineered scarcity, and still trying to figure out how they're going to eat and where their next dollar's coming from. So if you think about 2008, again, 2008 2.0, the next Lehman Brothers, based on the fact that nothing has changed and that the toxic greed within Wall Street has expanded, it makes you sit in the mind frame of, okay, it doesn't really mean much to me. The television says that the market is okay, and I still have a job. I go to work every day, so I don't really care. And I think people's apathy and their inability to understand what causes the fire is what gets us in trouble, because afterwards everyone just focuses on the smoke and never really gets to the root of the problem. So the only thing I'm trying to say is that you should prepare yourself. You should take the time to realize what's going on. And I think the everyday person, the guy that's on the bottom of the totem pole, this time I think will be affected more so than just the middle class. 2008 basically caused the vice grips to squeeze the middle class and the income gap between the super rich and the no rich to increase. So sort of like Moses parting the Red Sea, there's a gap, and it's been over the past 10 years increasing gap between who has and who doesn't have, right? So the next Lehman Brothers is basically because of the increased level of derivatives and the ripple effects that then cause other things to show representation. I think 2008 on steroids is going to be, now it's going to touch more than just the middle class, because we're at what, a few $1 trillion in derivatives, right? The derivative market is outrageous. It's somewhere like 1,000 times the percent of most countries' GDP. I mean, it's like what, $700 trillion? It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't think the average person can fathom what $1 trillion is. So multiply that by 700. So the next Lehman Brothers is going to be Deutsche Bank. And the ripple effects from Deutsche Bank is going to, this time, affect not just the middle class that's already dead. It's now going to reach down to the poor class. It's going to reach down to people that wasn't affected in 2008. And I really think that people should just prepare. I think that you should care about something other than the nonsense that most people talk about. And it boils down to your decision-making process. It boils down to what you consider a viable decision. I mean, do you stick with toxic debt representation, or do you transfer to hard assets that you own, manage, and control? Do you rely on a third-party bank that doesn't have your best interest in mind, or do you choose to become your own bank and regain the power, the control, and the future? So it's a hard fork that I think too many people are not willing to make. But if you're not willing to make these type of decisions, you shouldn't be willing to complain when you're victimized by staying in a a pool with gasoline where a match is about to be lit. And that's the nature of where we are, and that's the kind of direction that we're going in. And it's almost mind-boggling that people feel as if there's no repercussions to endless debt. We're in a debt bubble within multiple markets. We're on a financial cliff like never seen before, and everyone makes the assumption that there's no repercussions to endless printing. Financialization and rehypothecation and corporate buybacks and lie, steal, cheat, and kill so that you can turn up on the winning side, but everything is debt. So if there's no hard assets and there's no foundation backing up the debt, then how in the hell do you continue, or you think you can continue forever, is a surprise to me. And then the complete apathy amongst the people who will suffer the most, the everyday worker, is also amazing. So, you have greedy 1% bankers that are manipulating and monopolizing the market to the point of their favor. And then you have people that are at the bottom, on the other end of that knife, and only care about television. They only care about going to work every day. They don't care about making hard decisions to escape in a lifeboat before this ship sinks. So I'm coming to you from the perspective of an everyday person that studies, and I'm trying to present a different perspective without the titles and the lies and the distractions, and hope that somebody saves themselves.